Alright, so this is it so far. This is not the first time I've ridden it. I actually, before I mounted the tank, I zip tied the tank on and I took it for a test ride just to try to make sure everything was working correctly. But yeah, so the tank is now mounted properly with threaded connectors in the frame here. But yeah, a couple things had to change when I was riding it. The clutch wasn't adjusted correctly, so it was slipping when the thing was in gear. And then it was super firm. And I forgot that the preload on these shocks is adjustable. And I had adjusted it to its stiffest setting back when I thought I was going to be running a 19-inch wheel. Because I was worried about it colliding with the frame right here. So I cranked the preload back to 1, so it's at its softest setting now. And it's not bad. So as you can see right now, it's idling with the choke off. The thing runs great. Like I'm blown away with how little of an effect this pod filter has had on it. It breaks up a little bit. If you really get on it and let off, it'll backfire, and the throttle bogs a little bit until the thing is really up to temperature. I did order a jet kit off of a website that supposedly gives you like the correct jet sizes for the mods on your bike. I really doubt they got that right, but I haven't installed the jets yet. I'd like to actually finish modifying the exhaust first, just so I have a baseline. But let's ride it, and I'll talk some more. The speedometer is pretty good, although it's off for some reason. Reads the speed pretty accurately. Now it's collecting odometer miles. It has a clock on it. Now you'll notice in this riding position I can't actually see the speedometer, and that was kind of done intentionally. I wasn't trying to hide it from myself, but one thing I didn't want to do when I was looking for a place to mount it was put it right on top of the bars. I wanted to kind of tuck it down into the whole stack here and try to make it blend in. Let me get a side view for you. So you can see it, but it doesn't like stand out as badly. You know, it's just kind of a computer that's there collecting mileage information. And if you do want to see the speed, you can kind of just lean forward. And while we're here, one of the design aesthetics that I really wanted for this bike was for it to be narrow. You know, and so narrowing the wheels and the tires really helps that look. But then using the enduro bars obviously technically widens the entire thing. But the mirrors, they work great when I'm on the road. The problem is they really make this thing wide. Like, I haven't pulled a measuring tape out yet. They take the already wide handlebars and make them considerably wider by probably 4 inches on each end, which is just ridiculous. So I mean, it's not much of a lane splitter. They're functional. It keeps the top of the bars clean, and that's really what I was going for. So what else is there to talk about? Oh, originally the goal for this, one of the main goals, was to create the simplest, lightest Honda Rebel that I could. And I was really hoping it would handle like a mini bike, like the old Doodle Bugs or the mini Baja Warriors. And it really does. Up until about 40 miles an hour, it's just flickable. It's just, I've never ridden a motorcycle that handles like this on a road. Like, it's just, nothing else turns in quite like this does. Now, stability, on the other hand, is an entirely different conversation. I was doing like 50 on my first test ride, and I took like a long sweeper turn, and like the front end kind of got like a wobble because I leaned in, put a little pressure on the handlebar, and the thing just kind of gave me one of those, you know. And I realized reducing all of the weight, narrowing the wheels and tires, and really, frankly, using these shitty dual sport tires did not aid stability at high speeds. It's made that type of riding a little bit more sketchy than it used to be. I chose these tires because they look cool, they look vintage, and they're inexpensive, so I'm cool with them. I ordered a steering stabilizer from like an 07 Suzuki GSX-R 600, and I'm gonna see if I can mount it to the frame in a way where it has enough room for its full length of travel. And I may end up attaching that to the forks so that I can actually have a proper stability in the front end. Although I wonder if that'll like change how light. I don't think that'll change how light this feels. Will it? I don't know. Like, I don't want to lose the flickability this has, you know? Like, I feel like I can just zip around neighborhoods and just damn near scrape my foot on the ground. Let's do this cul-de-sac real quick. Oh gosh. It's kind of terrifying. I really want to look down to see how close my foot is, because it feels like my foot is really close to the ground. But anyway, point is, I'm really happy with where this is at so far. The ride quality is still kind of rough, but obviously losing the giant padded seat is going to make it a little harsher. A lot of vibration does come through, and you can feel it in your chest and stuff. And actually, I think it partially might be due to the tire pressure, because when I aired these tires up to mount them, I think I brought them back down to 30, and I think they're still at 30 psi. So I'm going to bring them down to about 20, maybe 25, and see if that improves the ride quality and maybe even the handling. Because I know higher tire pressures kind of aid in the motorcycle's feeling of turning in. We'll see what that does. But anyway, so now I'm going to go cut the exhaust, wrap it, put the mufflers on, probably go ahead and mount the rear fender. Then we'll take it out for another ride. I'll get it up to speed and show you some of that. And then after that, it's just powder coat. And this thing should be done. Alright, so here we are. The pipes are done. I've got them wrapped with a black exhaust wrap, which I hate doing that. I got so covered in fiberglass when I was doing this, and kind of forgot how annoying that was. I'm also not the best at doing that, so it's not super flat, but I think it's good enough. So now I just need to get some silicone spray and try to spray them a little bit so they don't fade too quickly. eBay mufflers are doing pretty good, but this thing is really loud. Much louder than I hoped it would be. So I'm trying to figure out if I can put baffles into these, or if they've maybe got baffles I can replace. I don't know. What else have I done here? So the rear fender has been bolted on using these mounts that I made by hand. I'm still going to cut these down and kind of clean them up a little bit, and those mounts are going to get painted when the fender's getting powder coated. I also cut the fender down here so it wasn't too close to the swing arm, and I think it's kind of a better look. I wanted it to look short and cut down, and I wanted it to protect the electronics because I didn't want the wheel throwing rocks into those wires. I've slanted this thing because when it's flat with the wheel can rub it. I may try to bring it down and see what the minimum angle is that I can run it at without having to worry about it rubbing. But so far, I'm really happy with how it looks. I think it looks freaking awesome. Down here, I got a registration tube that I got on Etsy of all places. It's a vintage registration tube from Texas, and there's actually an old Texas registration in there. I don't know if it's real or if it's been like faked, because these rubber pieces seem pretty fresh to me, but everything else looks aged. But I like how it looks on the bike, and so I've got my registration in there. So yeah, all this thing needs right now is paint. But let's go ride it. Hopefully you can hear me, and I'll actually get some good riding impressions of it. And yeah. I'm starting to think I probably should have just put the headlight switch on a toggle, or even just straight wired it, because you don't actually need to turn it off when you start the bike. Okay, so the light dims a little bit when the thing starts. Maybe, because I thought there was some kind of dimmer system in this motorcycle's electronics that I was accidentally bypassing, and that's why I put it on a switch, because I wanted to be able to shut it off when I would start this thing up. The hose clamp I have on the right side exhaust is rotated at an angle that is hitting the brake lever, or the brake pedal rather. I need to go back home and change that real quick, because I have to apply a lot of pressure on this before it moves, and it's kind of putting me at risk of locking the rear wheel every time I stop. See that? Alright, well now that that's fixed, my brake pedal works. Also, these tires have been aired down to about 20 psi, which I think is probably too low. But we're going to run it for a minute and just see. I want to see how this handles at a normal speed. God, that exhaust is ridiculous though. I'm not a loud exhaust guy. Right there. Yeah, the front end can really use a stabilizer. Like, it's fine up to like 45, and then once you get into corners like this, the feeling in the front end is not very confidence inspiring. But listen to that exhaust. I don't know. I mean, people are gonna hear you coming. That's for sure. Like, even if I move my feet right now, the whole bike kind of wobbles. I don't know if you can see that. Well, I'll say the ride quality has improved a lot with the lower air pressure. This thing is almost too soft. I could smell the exhaust wrap. Yeah, it's cooking. It's so gross. It smells like chemicals. I don't know should I let it cool down or should I actually just run it like that? It's been a while since I've done an exhaust wrap. So impressions right now. Needs a stabilizer. Tires need to come up probably about 5 pounds in air pressure. But other than that, this thing is pretty cool. The exhaust really needs some baffles or something. Like that's 5th gear, man. 45 miles an hour. So yeah, baffles, air pressure, and a steering stabilizer. So I've got the GSXR stabilizer, but I need to find a 33mm clamp for the fork. And I ordered one on eBay, but it's coming from China, and I think it's going to take like a month to arrive. So the rest of this bike is going to get done before that stabilizer goes on. Oh, that was a rub. Yeah, man, this is a blast. It's definitely it's definitely a weird experience. Sorry I haven't talked much on this ride. It's just loud and I'm just thinking through everything that I'm experiencing. The next video you see of this thing, it's going to be done. The paint's going to be done and I'm just going to shoot a reveal video for it. And yeah, I'm excited. This took 4 months and I'm thinking around 220 hours of work.